My project is to create an exam creation software. The goal of our project is to create the software that will be used to create exams, or you could use it for creating homework assignments or quizzes, or really whatever that educator wants to use it for. So our goal is that educators in both high school and college level will be able to use it. It's going to be a free program, which is crucial for something like this. So our goal by the end of the summer is to have a database of over 100 physics problems covering introductory physics. So these will all be algebra-based problems. The program will allow for the problems to be searched for, edited, and then compiled all into a PDF that then can be printed out to be used as a physical test or homework assignment. This program is going to be extremely useful for educators because educators waste a lot of their time on creating the same exams every single year. This is to dissuade academic dishonesty. This isn't what our educators need to be spending their office hours on, especially when there's students who could be benefiting from spending more time with them, or they could be using this time to update their lesson plans or create new experiments. And for professors, they could even be doing research instead of doing this. How this is really useful for academic dishonesty is that we're putting in a random generator into each of our problems. So the numbers that are put into every single problem will change every single time that it gets printed out. This means that there's not an easy way to look it up off the internet right away, and it won't just give you the answer. I do research to figure out what I can use and what I cannot use. I also run the Python code that our program is based on, and I keep a digital copy of all of the textbooks that we're using to create and put the problems in. One of the most important things to us about this program is that we keep it entirely free. Since the program is going to be used by high school teachers and college professors, who both often don't get a lot of funding, it's really important to us that it stays free. We only use open source textbooks for creating our problems. These problems all are covered under a Creative Commons license, which means that we can use them as long as we don't make any money off of them and that we cite them properly. So my job for the summer covers a couple different things. On one side, I'm doing a lot of research into different parts and components of the project, and on another side, I'm doing a lot of creating the database that is going to be used for the program. Some of the things that I'm researching and have looked into in the past is we had to decide exactly what we wanted the program to do. This required us to look at websites like WebAssign and Sapling and see what exactly their programs do and see what we liked of theirs and what we would like in ours, along with thinking of, as a teacher, what exactly would I want in my program. I had to learn about how file types work. And with Dr. Tchernookov, he decided on using XML files. So this required me to learn how that would work in the database. One other thing I had to research into was learning exactly how the Creative Commons license works. Creative Commons license is often on open source software and books, and this is something that we are using quite often in our project. We have 2 different Creative Commons licenses that are covering different books that we are using. We have 5 different books. 3 of them are covered by one, 2 by the other. We might get more books as it goes on, and we'll have to check with those to make sure that those books are also covered by it and make sure that we follow all of the rules that are required in using a Creative Commons license. Another big part of my project is creating the database. To create the database, I use those books that I found, and I am taking out all of the problems and solving them, and after solving them, then creating a solution that can be coded that will go into the problem, that will go into the database, so that it can be looked up and figured out, so that that random number that gets put in will be solved and a solution will come out that the professor or teacher could use to check the answers faster. The program has to be written in LaTeX, so then it can be put into the PDF. The difficulty has to be decided, the length of time that it will take has to be figured out, and the categories that every single problem falls under has to be figured out and decided. And that includes any subcategories it might be under, so that it's easy for it to be looked up in the database and it's readily available for anybody who needs it. The last thing that also has to be done is any images that we want to go along with the program either have to be created or have to be found, and then it also has to make sure that it's covered under that Creative Commons license again. Later this summer, after the program has been completed, hopefully, and the database has an adequate amount for the moment, it can always be added onto later. It's just going to be a matter of testing the program, figuring out if it works, make sure it's working on Windows, Mac, and Linux. And then hopefully this upcoming semester in the fall, it will be able to be used by my mentor, Dr. Tchernookov, for his Introductory to Physics class. And then we can test it and debug it as the time goes along.